What's up, guys, and welcome to my very first Q&A video. Now, I just kind of had a feeling like I wanted to do one of these videos. It doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to become a regular feature on the channel, although I'll certainly bring it back every now and then. But I reached out to you guys on Twitter this afternoon, asked you what you wanted to know or what you wanted me to answer about PCs or tech or phones or cars or my life in general. Everything was kind of fair game this time around. You responded with a whole bunch of questions, and I'm going to try to go through as many of them as I can in a reasonable amount of time. All right, first question is from Jeff M. Jeff says, do you do YouTube full-time? And if not, is that something that is a goal of yours? So I do get this question quite a bit. No, YouTube is not my full-time job. My channel is basically nowhere near big enough that the income from it would be able to be something that would sustain me and my wife. So no, it is not. Although I have actually been producing 2 videos a week on a fairly regular schedule for a good amount of time now. And the amount of hours that I need to put into this every week between, testing, scripting, shooting, editing, coordinating products with vendors, doing builds, it is a lot of work. That itself is 40 plus hours a week. And then I have a full-time job that I do during the day. I do work from home, so that is a nice little perk, nice luxury, I guess, that I have. But no, YouTube is not my full-time job. If at one point it could be, I guess, that would be great. And I would certainly love to do that. But when I started the channel, that was not the goal. And I still think that if that was the only thing that I was working towards, as opposed to just improving my content, then I think that the channel would suffer. If I was just grinding away, I have to get enough subscribers to be able to make this a full-time job. I think it would just become a burden. So for now, not my full-time job. In the future, maybe, but if not, that's okay too. All right, so question 2, I'm actually gonna combine 2 separate questions because I think they're related. So the first question comes from Suicidal Wolf, and he says, how have you been affected by the adpocalypse? And then Mike the Manic Geek asked, thoughts on Floatplane and the changing/challenging creator space. So the reason I feel that these are related is because one of the main drivers for Floatplane's existence, let me pause actually. For those of you not familiar with Floatplane, Linus Tech Tips, Linus Media Group, is branching off and creating their own online creator space where it'll be a paid service, but there will be no ads. So similar to something like YouTube Red, only I think the way it's going to work is you're going to pay per creator that you want to have access to. It's going to be like an early access platform. I'm sure at some point, if it grows to the point where this is viable, there might be creators that are only on Floatplane and not on YouTube. But this kind of grew out of where Vessel was trying to occupy in the market, and Vessel failed. But Linus is a smart guy, Luke is a smart guy. They're the ones running the ship over there, and I have confidence that they can make it work. But one of the reasons for something like that to be necessary is because of the demonetization issue with YouTube right now and the adpocalypse. And I've been hit pretty hard by it myself. I have posted a couple times on Twitter about it. I've stopped posting about it just because it's just almost gotten to be the new normal now, where I'll post a video and then within a day it'll be demonetized or limited ads or whatever you want to call it. So that's unfortunate. I've fought every single one of those, and every single one of them has been overturned because my content is not something that should be marked inappropriate for advertisers. I don't use profanity. I'm just reviewing tech products for the most part. So it did hit me pretty hard. It has affected my revenue, unfortunately, but I'm in a position where I'm fairly fortunate that I do have another job, as we just talked about. So this isn't going to hurt me financially that much. And but that doesn't necessarily mean though that I'm okay with this. There's something wrong with the system that flags videos. Whatever algorithm is going through uploads and tagging stuff as not appropriate is way too aggressive. I'm not really sure, and a lot of people aren't sure, what exactly triggers this. So I hope it gets straightened out soon. YouTube has put out a statement saying that they're working on things, trying to improve the automatic system. I mean, I guess we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I have been hit pretty hard by it. Almost every one of my videos I have to manually request a review of so that the monetization is returned. But by that point, most of the views are gone because most of the views happened within the first 24 hours of upload. So that sucks. But yeah, if Floatplane can help there and afford people a platform where they can upload their content and viewers can support creators directly, that would be fantastic. And I would love to be a part of it at some point if it keeps maturing. Santiago Medina asks, have you thought about quitting? So, not recently. I did actually think about ending the channel kind of back when it started, just because starting a channel from nothing, from scratch, is really difficult. And I wasn't having much success. I wasn't getting a lot of traction. Wasn't getting a lot of followers, viewers, anything along those lines. Wasn't getting a lot of interaction from people watching my videos, which was a little frustrating. So yeah, I did consider doing it at that time. I did consider just kind of letting it go when I had, I don't know, 25 or 50 subscribers or something along those lines. And it was that way for a while. Like there were probably several months after I started the channel where I had just nobody watching my videos. So, you know, yeah, I did consider it at that point, but I was like, you know, I have an interest in this stuff and I have the ability to improve my content because my content wasn't great at that point. And I said, let me give this a real shot, and I guess it worked. So yeah, I'm not quitting anytime soon. Ready Player One asks, what's the next trade show you're going to? So that would be CES. CES is in 2 months. It's in January 2018 in Las Vegas. If you guys were around last year, or I mean, I guess January of this year, I was out there for 5 days, I think. And in the 5 days, I put out 19 videos. And I am a one-man show. I do literally everything. I've toyed with the idea of potentially hiring an editor or somebody maybe to help me film, but I haven't at this point, and as of now, it's still gonna be just this guy. So 19 videos in 5 days is draining, to say the least. It's a lot of work, but CES is the biggest show, biggest consumer electronics show maybe in the world. I mean, it's certainly the largest one that I would consider attending. Computex is huge, but that's mainly just for computer hardware. This CES has everything, and it was a lot of fun. I made such a huge amount of contacts. I got to see and meet people face to face that I just emailed with. So it was definitely worth it, but a lot of work, and I will be back there in 2 months. All right, Johnny Gogo asked me like 1, 2, 3, 4 questions in a row. So I'm gonna rapid fire answer you. Okay, what was the first game you remember playing too much? I don't remember the name of it, but it was back in like the mid 90s, maybe 94 or so, and it was DOS-based, text-only, online RPG. I played it to the point where my mom was really upset because our dial-up phone bill was just through the roof because we were paying 10 cents a minute for internet access at that point. That is how old I am. But I don't remember the name of it. I kind of wish I did. I played it for hours and hours and hours on end. But that was probably, I probably shouldn't have done that. What was your first computer? First computer was a Commodore 64. So if that doesn't date me, I don't know what else would. What got you started modifying / building computers? Not entirely sure, actually. My dad was into it when I was younger. He's the one that bought the Commodore initially. He had like boxes and boxes of spare parts in the basement. One time my brother, my friend, and I were in the basement and we found this box of parts and we started to just assemble things kind of out of nowhere and not really knowing what plugged into what, and almost started a fire. But that was kind of where my interest started. And then as soon as I got a job and some way to be able to buy my own stuff is when I started buying parts. I didn't go out and buy like a Dell. You know, I bought parts and I assembled it, and I was pretty young. I was a teenager. And the last one, higher refresh monitor or higher resolution monitor. I think I might be in the minority amongst my peers here, but I will take higher resolution monitor. The reason I use this monitor back here is because it's an ultra wide and it's really good for timeline scrubbing. But if I could get this form factor, this 21:9 aspect ratio in a 4K resolution, so 2160 tall, that would be what I want. I don't game enough that high refresh rates matter to me, more so than screen real estate. Let me put it that way. So yeah, there you go. I'd rather have higher resolution, I think. Holones? I don't know. I'm definitely butchering that. Asks, is it necessary to get a high-end PC when one is going to university? No, I say no, it is not. I made the mistake because I was into computers at that time that I went to university, when I went to college, that I brought my computer and probably spent way too much time just messing around online, because that's when like broadband was becoming a thing, and playing games with my friends and whatever else, and it was definitely a distraction that I did not need. For university, for college, get a laptop. You will use it way more, and it will be much more useful for you and less of a distraction. I think it is a better situation to have a laptop at school. You can bring it to class, you can take notes, you can go to study groups with your friends, and then obviously use it as you would a regular computer. It has a lot more utility to it than a big, powerful desktop might, and it might get you into less trouble. And then I got a couple of these. What prompted to start up your channel? Probably pretty common question, says Midnight Banshee. So for those of you, I guess, who don't know, I have been doing like custom builds for a long time. Like I moved from New York 10 years ago down to Maryland, where I live now, and in New York I had a side business doing custom builds for people, and then I moved down here, kind of took a break from it for a little bit because I had no more established base, no more word of mouth. But after a while got back into it and was kind of rolling along, had a few clients and whatnot, and decided that YouTube would be a good place for me to advertise, and not advertise by going, you know, like, hey, shop at Brian's computer store, but advertise like, let me demonstrate my knowledge, and perhaps that might bring in customers. So that's why I started the channel. I wanted to kind of demonstrate what I could do for people. And then it kind of took off, and it morphed more into, you know, this is the business now, and not so much the computer building part of it. I actually haven't done a client build in quite a long time. I've turned away a lot. I have a really full schedule between my 9-to-5 job and the filming that I have for this, and I have right now, I have videos planned out through December 10th right now. So I mean, I don't even know what I would do if I was taking on client projects. I don't even know when I would do them. So I've turned away a lot. It's unfortunate because that was kind of what I was doing initially, but I think this is overall better. I get to help more people this way. Abigail Kaminsky says, I'm not sure if I'm late with this one, but I just saw the Razer phone and it made me wonder what your thoughts on it would be. So I just saw the Razer phone too. I didn't have any early access to it or anything else like that. So I've only watched a couple of videos on it, and it's okay. It looks actually like a really solidly built phone with the same kind of design language that you find on other Razer products, which is really good because I like the way Razer products look. But it's just not something that I would buy. And the focus, the gaming focus, is neat. That's very different from what almost everybody else is doing. But I never game on my phone. And I don't know how much you guys game. Maybe that's an interesting question. Let me know, do you guys game on your phone in a way that would utilize a 120 hertz display and whatever other features that the Razer phone is touting? I mean, I don't do it ever. So I don't know what percentage of people actually do it and would take advantage of what they're offering, because that's kind of the selling point, right? Like, this is a gaming phone, but I don't know what that means for most people. So I don't know. That phone's not for me. Maybe it's for you, but yeah, I really don't have any interest in it. Kellen Karazin asks, if you could replace your S5 with anything, what would it be? Follow-up question, would you then sell the S5 to me for super cheap? So Kellen's referring to my car. I drive an Audi S5. I love it. It was my dream car for a long time, and you know, I'm finally in a position that I can afford it. But he says replace it with anything, which is really pretty broad, and we can get into like fanciful things here. You know, I want a $2 million Bugatti Veyron or something. But to keep it, I guess, reasonable, if I could replace it with anything, I'd still want my car to have some measure of utility to it. So I think I'd probably go with something like a Tesla P100D or something like that. My wife actually was one of the first ones to pre-order a Model 3, and then she decided that she didn't want to wait as long as it was going to take. She just canceled her reservation the other day, actually, because Tesla has some delays in the factory. So I was really looking forward to getting a Tesla in the garage, but unfortunately that's not to be. But yeah, I think something like a Tesla would be great to have. Not only is it an amazing car, but it kind of sends like a message like, hey, you know, we're all on this earth together or something. You guys know what I mean. Sean asked, with how hardware is made these days, is it still best to buy components all at once or as they go on sale or over time? So that's kind of a weird question. I assume you mean like, should you wait for something, or you know, do you need to save up money for something else? In this industry especially, there's always something next. Always. Rumors for, you know, 2018 parts started early 2017. We already know the next 3 generations of Intel processors, or at least we know their code names. We know what's coming next for NVIDIA and AMD as far as GPUs go. If you're waiting, if you're always waiting, you're never going to buy anything, because you could always say, oh man, I want to wait for that next thing. We're at a good point now. All companies, all major vendors have good, solid, really high-performing stuff. Even budget components are really good right now. I don't think you would go wrong if you wanted to buy something. I'm pretty sure it would last you quite a long time. You know, even if it doesn't matter if you go with Intel or AMD on the CPU side, or AMD or NVIDIA on the GPU side, you'll be fine. Either way, your system will last you a long time. So if you have the money, like if you're not looking to try to save up for something, then now is a fine time. And then last question from Wooly. You can pick only one. Who is your favorite case manufacturer? Well, this one is actually pretty easy. Without a doubt, my absolute favorite case manufacturer, and they actually are my favorite manufacturer of any part of any kind, without a doubt, kind of blows away everything else that I see. Without a doubt, my favorite case manufacturer is... So I'm just editing this video, and I don't know what happened there at the end. The video must have cut off or something. I don't know. But anyway, if you guys like this video, leave a like down there. Get subscribed to the channel if you're not already. Leave a comment
with a question, because maybe we'll make this a thing. You know, whenever I have some time, I'll take a look back and we'll answer some more questions for you. They don't all have to be about PCs or tech or my life or anything like that. They can be pretty varied. So let me know what you got. Thanks guys for watching. See you next time.